Hello, my name is Maria Mbudhi. I am the CEO of Antila Oil and Gas and also the founder of the Namibia Local Content Conference. We are convening this year's conference alongside NIPDB and NCCI. My background spans over a decade in the upstream sector of the Namibian oil and gas industry. I have worked for several operators, and at the moment I am dedicating my time and services to building platforms and ecosystems that empower Namibians and offer inclusivity in terms of participating in our sector. I think over the past decade or the tenure that I held in the industry, I had been exposed to various platforms, conferences, various international meetings and delegations that I was fortunate to be a part of, and I realized that most of the countries that were very successful in enhancing local content in their countries were able to, or ensured that they carried the local private sector alongside their discoveries or their production to ensure that they have ecosystems in country to be able to harness the benefits of being an oil producing country. So I believe it was around 2003 when the oil majors discovered or made some hydrocarbon discoveries off our coast. I saw it as an opportunity or a gap in the market to be able to empower the private sector here locally for them to understand the value chain of the industry, and also for them to start preparing themselves to be able to offer services in the sector, not just by when we reach production, but through the full value chain from exploration up until production phase. So the platform was designed essentially to be a catalyst for local content within the country, but also to act as a platform for all the stakeholders to congregate, to offer their expertise and also highlight the challenges that they are facing within the sector, and for us to be able to be ready by the time that we reach FID. Namibia is still a novice in the oil and gas sector, and I believe that with the exploration activities taking place in the country, it is of utmost importance that everyone understands the sector, everyone understands how they can contribute. Our government is working tirelessly to ensure that the local content policy is enacted, and I believe that if we don't lend our voices to framing this framework or this policy, that we could miss the opportunity to craft a very important document that will guide us in our operations in the oil and gas sector. The other thing is also it's also very important to showcase the capabilities of the various stakeholders in the private sector, because the narrative that I believe most of the operators have gotten over the past few years is that Namibia is not ready to offer services to the sector. There are some low-hanging fruits that I believe our current petroleum exploration licenses already cover or make provision for participation, and I believe that if we congregate, like I said, and come together to hold each other accountable, to empower one another, and to really be deliberate in terms of how we collaborate, that is why the NLCC is there for. This year's theme is aligning Namibia's energy ambitions, a synergized approach to local content. What we've done with this year's program is we've expanded or widened the program to include the emerging sectors and the historic sectors such as your mining and the ever-evolving green hydrogen sector. We believe that by doing so, we will be able to have an overarching look at a local content, one that is a bit more synergized. And I say that because like the maritime and mining sectors, for example, are already in their advanced stages or in their teenage stage, for lack of a better word, in the adolescent stage, where they can perhaps already give us in the oil and gas sector pointers as to how they've achieved local content and how even the green hydrogen sector, how they are making strides in terms of local empowerment locally. So the theme was crafted to be able to highlight Namibia's readiness, like I said, but also to showcase that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have systems that work. We just need to plow back into them and go back to the drawing board to see how they can best complement one another. Okay, so we are excited to host a mix of voices at this year's conference, from the government officials who shape our regulation or regulatory frameworks, from international players, from international service companies and the operators who are essentially the off-takers of the private sector that we're looking to grow. We're also looking to host and to accommodate the private sector in terms of business owners who are currently serving the market, for them to be able to articulate how it is that they've done it and what their challenges are. We're also looking to host academia, because we believe that the youth, who constitute 70% of our population, should actually be the ones who we plow back into the most at this stage, because they will grow to be the participants and drivers of local content in the future. We're also looking to, like I said, host the government, but most especially the upstream petroleum unit in the presidency. We would like for them to have a first-hand understanding of what the challenges are from the exhibitors, but also for them to be able to work alongside us to empower. We're also looking at having the emerging sectors such as your green hydrogen and your mining. The Chamber of Mines have also been extended an invitation for them to come and articulate and give us their roadmap to local content creation over the past few decades that they have been in Namibia. So since last year, since the inaugural Local Content Conference last year, I just thought to inform you of what our strides have been. We had a great attendance at the inaugural conference with over 300 delegates, most of whom were from the private sector, and we've seen a trend where local content was also obviously now the main topic of discussion at various events over the past year. And this year I believe that we were deliberate in postponing the event to October because we wanted to be able to fill in the gaps that the conversations at other events have not been able to cover. We've seen the recent conclusion of the Namibia Youth Oil and Gas Summit, which was a successful event, and we commend them for the work that they've done. And we also see the Namibia Oil and Gas Conference upcoming now in August. But I think our aim for young professionals and other stakeholders in industry would be to bring a different perspective to the discussion around local content. Like I said, we have systems that work in Namibia, but perhaps it's just a matter of information asymmetry that is not connecting to the private sector. People want practical and tangible solutions as to how they can really participate or grow their various enterprises in the country. So we're creating spaces where young professionals can interact with industry, and this year we've partnered with the Namibia Energy Youth Forum to host the Namibian Innovators pitching program, which is dedicated to young people driving change in the energy space. We also would like for the young professionals at the event to get first-hand financial mentoring from the FNB SME division, who we've also partnered with this year. So we are looking forward to having the young professionals at the event this year. think we can try.
What is your long-term vision for the Namibia Local Content Conference and its impact on the national economy?
Okay. I envision the NLCC becoming a permanent cross-sector platform that discusses not just local content but also private sector empowerment and development. The long-term goal is obviously to be aligned with the local content policies and national development goals, so that within our discussions and within our operations as entities, it is so embedded that it just rolls over naturally in how we do business and how we educate and how we hold ourselves accountable, but also how we invest. I believe that economically that would mean and come across as a stronger Namibian supply chain that caters to the full value chain of the oil and gas sector, and more tangible jobs, more transference of technological innovation within the sector, and I believe that if we get it right, and if the conference allows for this type of discussions over the years, we will be at a much better advantage of really grasping at the opportunities that will allow themselves or present themselves in the sector for Namibians. Yes, only this. Local content is not just about charity, it's not just about policy. I believe that it is an opportunity for all Namibians to take on the responsibility to make better decisions, decisions that are encapsulating of local knowledge, local commitment and drive, and also direct ownership from the start. NLCC is not just a conference or an event, an annual event. It is also an opportunity, like I've mentioned before, for us to really empower ourselves and to take on the baton that is our responsibility of ensuring that local content becomes a reality. And we can start in our everyday actions, in how we do business, in how we invest, in how we educate, not just the youth but the existing workforce. I believe that this is our opportunity as Namibians for us to really showcase our capability and our commitment to realizing Namibia's dream of becoming an oil-producing country.